be told when you get behind closed doors after that diagnosis, when you have to go through some terrible things that you have to go through. I know sometimes it makes you get a little bit low in your spirit. I know it would be me. Modern medicine, there's treatments, and there's hope, and there's for us to have a cure. And many of you all have that cure, and you are survivors, and you are overcomers. And so we're so blessed today. But we can understand what this lady was going through in here. Breast cancer is the second most common cancer in women, more than 200,000 per year. Now, this is the thing that got me. I said, well, if that's number two, what's number one? Number one is skin cancer. I did not know that. In the past, when we've kept silent for the fear of what we don't know about things, what the future is going to hold, how things are going to happen with us, with our family, with our bodies. So we kind of kept quiet about it. But I'm so glad today that you all are speaking out, you're celebrating, you're sharing each other, and you're uplifting each other, because women, we need each other. We don't need to stay at home, okay? So this lady was an overcomer because she refused to give up. She could have stayed at home because that's what they told her to do. Don't come out. You got all that issue, those issues going on. Don't come out here. Don't come over here. But she was a fighter, and we know she wasn't at home. So her healing was not at home. So why would she be staying at home? So ladies, whatever comes our way, we've got to get up and get out of that house, and we got to fight. Fight for our life. Fight for our future. Fight for our name. She did not feel sorry for herself. And that's one of the things I'm sure that people with cancer have gone through. I know when I went through this, like, why I gotta have this, you know? And why me? I'm just keeping it real. You know, I was a young woman. Why I gotta have this cancer? But God blessed me to be able to get treatments and so forth. My mother died from colon cancer. And so she came to me in a dream and told me about it. And I went to this doctor for the fluid. He told me, let's go get this checked out. And that's how they find mine, stage 4. Okay? So the scripture tells us that her fighting plan of action is what we're going to be learning about today. Everybody, when you go to a fight, when something attacks you, you better have a plan. You better be ready to fight. And that's why you need to come to church and get encouragement, because you got to be full of faith, and you got to be full of courage. So when the stuff hits you, you ready to what? Fight. Okay? So let's look at what she did real quickly. The first thing we see that she did was she heard. So she was in a situation where she could hear about Jesus, which they were in synagogue. She couldn't go in there, for somebody told her about Jesus. And she got because she was listening for it, that he was coming through. All right? He comes through all the time. But sometimes we're just too busy doing other stuff, and we miss him. So we need to make sure that we're listening to see when Jesus is passing through. So you can't isolate yourself. And then after that, after she heard it, she believed what she heard. Okay? So a lot of times we come to church, let's just tell the truth. You hear message after message after message, and you don't believe it. When stuff comes, do you put the word into action? It's just like I was telling you about my sickness today. I mean, 1 o'clock just came out of nowhere. It was an attack. So Satan was telling me, just go to the hospital. You can't go there. You can't do this the way you doing all that. You can't do that. And so I said, I was thinking of it, contemplating it, so I was hearing it. And then the Lord said, what did you have in this word that I told you? You got to believe what you heard. So she heard that God could heal, and she had to believe it. So she had to lay her hands. I had to lay my hands on myself this morning. Bishop prayed for me. I said, God, give me the strength to get out of this house, get my clothes on, and keep things together until I can get this word out and get to wherever I need to go. Because I knew it was an attack after so long, because after I did that, I put my clothes on, and it just stopped. It just stopped. But it didn't stop until I just ignored what was going on. I ignored my issue, because I'm not my issue, right? So I got my clothes on, started putting my little makeup on or whatever. And I was thinking, I kept the little trash can close to me, in case. I looked up, I had everything on, my shoes on, everything. I was ready to go. And I told Bishop, I said, looking good so far. I'm going to go up first in case it comes back. But all the way, never came back. It hasn't come back now. It was an attack. Satan did not want me to get this word to somebody in here, because you are not your issue. Stop focusing on your issue. Stop letting your issue overtake you. Thank you. And you need to understand that a lot of times Satan just wants to distract you. It's just a distraction. So from 1:30 till right before we got here, I was under attack, and he was trying to distract me. And I was falling for it at first. I said, well, let's just go on by the urgent care, and let's just don't go. Let me just call and tell him I can't come. And Satan said, there, I got her. She focusing on her issues. And the Lord just told her she was not her issue. And I'm focusing on the issue and not God. Next thing she did after she believed and she started hearing what she heard, believing what she heard, she had to take action. Just like I did, I had to get up and put my clothes on. And said, I'm going to press my way through. I know what's been happening for hours, but I'm going to press my way through. So you got to take some action. You got to get up and start taking action toward healing. Take actions toward getting beyond your issues, whatever they may be. You got to do something. You can't stay at home and folk to come by. You know folk won't come by. And then you throw a pity party. Ain't nobody come by here to bring me no food and come to see about me, come to pray for me. Ain't nobody put me in the water. Girl, you're going to be waiting for a long time if you're waiting for somebody to come by. Okay? You need to get up and take some actions to move it. And God will do the rest. I like it when they used to say, you take one step and God will take two. That is sure the truth. So next she had to press her way. Even don't feel like it. Even though I wasn't feeling healed and well, I had to press my way and get the clothes on and get the hair done and get everything ready. And then expect that there are going to be obstacles when you do things that are moving towards your healing. Expect there to be obstacles. That's what Satan does. He wouldn't have been doing his job this morning if he hadn't put obstacles in my way. But you got to be determined to fight. Number one, fight yourself first. That's the biggest enemy you have, is the enemy. Okay? Satan not doing all of that. A lot of it, you doing it yourself. He don't have to do nothing but sit back and laugh. So you got to fight yourself and fight others. Some of them may be in your home, or on your job or whatever, but you cannot let people speak into your life stuff that is not of God. Remember, you are not your issue. And then the next thing is you got to touch Jesus in some kind of way. She was searching for Jesus because she needed healing. When you come to church on Sunday, are you searching for Jesus? Are you searching for your friend? Are you wanting to be entertained? I'm just going to keep it real. But see, she came searching for Jesus. Not that she wanted to see him. She wanted him to heal her because she had some issues, okay? So when she got close to him, she could not get to his flesh. Everybody says she didn't touch his flesh. But her mind told her, do your best and God will do the rest. So she did. She did not let the odds discourage her because there were so many people around her. And, I'm sure she's trying to figure out, how am I supposed to get through all these people? And they're pushing, and they're men, and they're stronger than me, and I'm weak. So it looked like it was impossible to get through the crowd. But she was determined to not look at those odds. She had to look at Jesus. She kept her eyes on him even though she had the backside of him. She couldn't get her way around to the front. Everybody else had the choice seats, right? The choice positions. You know how they do when they're trying to push. They want to get in front because they want Jesus to see them, right? So she could only come up from the back. But how many of you she came up from the back, right? And it's okay to come up from the back. The main thing is that you come up, okay? So I just imagine she was saying to herself, I done got this far. I'm some kind of touch on here. I'm not going to leave here. I'm up and I'm dripping and going on. I'm going to make sure that I get close. So this could have been her one and only chance. She may not would have gotten another chance. It's been 12 years. Now she's gotten close to Jesus. But she can't touch him, but she's trying her best to touch him. How many of you all really try to touch Jesus? Do you really try to touch him? Or you just come and say, they're going to have to preach to me today. Everybody got to sing to me. Da, 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 da. I got to be entertained. It's all about me. You're going to miss it. So in verse 28, she said to herself, even if I touch his garment, I will be made whole. She was determined. She said, this is what will happen if I touch his garment, okay? So she had heard about the power of Jesus. So she was determined to touch some part of him. Her flesh could not touch him, but her faith, everybody say her faith could not touch him, but her faith could touch him. Come on now. Reached through the back of the crowd to touch Jesus' garment, but she was just satisfied just touching the hem of his garment. And so if you find a way to connect with Jesus, he will find a way to connect with you. If you touch him, I guarantee you, he will touch you. Draw nigh to him, and he will draw nigh to you. You see, she touched his hem, H-E-M, right? She was trying to touch H-I-M. She couldn't get to H-I-M. And she said his H-E-M is good enough. And if that's all I can get today, I'm going to get all I can get. Her faith and determination drew power out of his hem. Oh, Jesus, that got me when God told me that. Said she touched that hem and drew out power. She drew that power out. She was holding on to it, drawing out. It's all she could get. Well, she said, oh, Lord, I receive it. I believe it. I receive it. I receive it. And that power went on out of Jesus and came into her. And I know it did because the Bible said here, he stopped. She'd been chasing him and looking for him. Now he's looking for her. And he said, now, who touched me? Who? And the disciples didn't get it. They said, now, Jesus, all these people rub up against you and crowded. What do you mean who touched you? They all touching you. I can't keep them from touching you. He said, no. Oh, this one right here. I felt power go out of me. And that's what you want to do when you get in the presence of Jesus. You got to keep touching that hem and pulling on it. Hold on tight to it because you got an agenda. And your agenda is not to just see him, but it is to touch him and to get power from him to heal what it is you come to get healing for. How many of you need something healing in your life? How many of you got issues? It may not be breast cancer, but you know you got issues. Tell your neighbor, I know you got some issues, girl. Oh, yeah, you got some issues. And then tell them I got some too. I'm just not going to tell you about them, but I got some too. So the thing about it that I saw here was that he felt her before he saw her. How many of you have pressed so hard and pulled on the hem of Jesus' garment so hard that he feels you? Ooh, you got to press it. If you not feeling nothing, he ain't feeling nothing either. Come on. When you come to worship, does Jesus feel you? What does he see about you? What does he feel? If you're pulling on him, he's going to feel you. So without a word, Jesus heard her tears drop. She didn't have to say one thing, but he could hear every tear that dropped to the ground. He heard her heart that was aching and hurting. He heard her fears, her depression, her hopelessness, and her loneliness. He felt all of that when that power went out, and she didn't have to say one word. And when she touched the hem of his garment, his power touched her back. It was a connection, a divine connection. And I tell you, when you go to church every Sunday, when you worship, you need to have that divine connection, that touch back. And see, one of the things that, when you're looking at the touch, see, when you touch his hem, you touched him and he touched you. Don't you cause him to touch you when you touch him? Oh, yeah, let me show you. See, if I touch you, you didn't touch me, right? But now you did. You touch me, I touch you. I'm pulling on you. Come on now. We touch each other, right? But you need to reach out and touch. You make the initiation. You want people to come over, lay hands on you, and slap you out? You don't need to be slapped out of the spirit. You need to be picked up. Oh, my goodness. Verse 29 says, and immediately. And see, that's what happened to me this morning. I just started laughing when I heard it. Immediately when I started putting my clothes on, that attack left me. But as long as I was sitting there like, oh Lord, I think I'm gonna need to call him, and I can't come. I don't think I need to go to Adrian Kirk. Bishop, I think you're gonna take me to the hospital. As long as I was doing that, I just kept throwing up. Just could not stop it. As soon as I started putting my little makeup on and everything, put all the other parts on. I'm determined. I'm fixed to go. Okay. Everybody tell your neighbor, I'm fixed to go. Okay. So immediately, if you do that and you touch him, immediately that situation has got to stop. It's got to stop. But you cannot stay there and allow it to take control of you, which is what I was doing. I was getting scared, and I would have missed this. And that's what Satan wants. Don't y'all miss church. Press your way. The reason why you can't go or things are not the way, whatever, is because there's something there for you that Satan does not want you to get. And if he can keep you at home, you're going to miss your blessing. You see, everyone who was touching Jesus in the crowd, they were not drawing. Anybody from the country, how you draw water? They were touching, but they weren't drawing. Nothing. All they wanted to do was to just see. Let me see what's church. Let me see what they're doing. Let me see what the choir's singing. They didn't want to touch. They didn't want to draw. They just wanted to touch. Okay? So if you're going to be healed, you got to draw. And if you've ever drawn water, it takes, you got to pull that thing. You got to pull it up like it was your lifeline. Okay? She did not just want to see Jesus. She wanted to hear him. But she also wanted his power to indwell her, to heal her. So the crowd came to see, but she came to receive. What are you coming to church for? You coming to see, be seen, or receive? It's one of those three. You choose. Okay? Then, like I said, it turned around. She came looking for him, but he ended up looking for her after she reached out to touch him. So you make the first step, and God will come looking for you. Jesus is going to search you out, and he's going to heal you of whatever issues that you have. He's going to help you to be able to go through some of those things that you think you can't go through. Okay? But you got to go looking for him, and he will come looking for you. But the woman knowing what happened, it said, with fear and trembling, she fell down before him, and she gave her testimony. Another thing we don't do is we don't tell nobody what Jesus did. Jesus said, I'm doing all this, and you ain't saying nothing. You know how I did that. You didn't do that. You know, I protected your child. I marriage together. I gave you money to get your lights turned back on. Come on. Just think about it. We forget so easily what God has done in our lives. And so we need to understand that we need to testify to somebody, tell somebody, because that's how they will know. Somebody told her about Jesus, what he had done. And that's how she knew. So you are to go and make disciples. How do you make disciples? Go tell them about what he's done in your life. What he is to you, how do you feel about him? And invite them to church. We don't do that anymore, okay? So the thing that I'm going to get through with this real quickly here, but it said after this process that she went through of being able to be healed and become whole, not just a survivor, to overcomer, but she became a daughter. A daughter. When I read that this morning and was reading it down, I started having tears in my eyes because, my daddy passed away this year. And one of the things, he wasn't in my life when I was young or when I was first grown. It was when I was old grown. But he came back and he made sure that I knew that he loved me. And one of the things he would do, he would say that, daughter. And just something about the way he said daughter. It was a term of endearment. It was something that was comforting. It was reassuring of who I am, where I came from, that connection. And so you get hope that when someone says daughter, because then when you look at him this time, now you look at him as daddy. It's saying daddy's with you. You're my daughter. You're not your issue. You are my daughter. You have an inheritance. You are mine and I am yours. Isn't that important to know when you're going through something? Because sometimes you don't feel like you're a daughter. You feel like you're not cast. Feel like nobody loves you. Why me? So as we get ready to close, I want you to just know that the Lord sent me today to tell you, yes, you are overcomers. Yes, you are survivors. But for all of that, you are his daughters. And he loves you so much. And he is with you. And when things come up, this is what I wanted to do as a little girl. I used to tell my daddy. I didn't have any brothers. I was like, I'm going to go tell my daddy. He'll beat you up. He'll put things out. And that's the way we thought about it as a little girl. But now when things come my way now, I look at that like that. I'm going to tell my daddy. So that's what I did this morning when he kept messing with me and I'm running to the restroom. He spoke to me. I said, I'm about to tell my daddy. And that's what I did. I went in prayer and I told my daddy about him, what he was trying to do to me and how he was, he was just trying to mess over me, tossing me here and from me, not even think right, even though I just got the word. You just get the word and before you can get out the door, something happens. And, I know y'all don't say one of those words, but sometimes you'll say a bad word or you'll go back to an old attitude or way of doing things, Not none of y'all. Okay, so if you're going to beat all odds the rest of your life, because how many of you know you have one victory and then everything is going well and then another one will come up and another one will come up. And you said, just seem like every time I look around, something else comes up. It's called life, guys. But you are more than conquerors through Jesus Christ who gives you the strength, right? You can handle it. Tell your neighbor, you can handle that. Girl, you got a daddy. You can handle that. Okay? So, daughters, your faith has made you whole. On verse 34 is what he said to her. And the directions that he gave to her said, your faith has made you well. Your faith. Okay? Now get up, go in peace, and be healed. Stop throwing the pity party and go in peace. So I just came to tell you today, ladies, that you are not your issue. Jesus says, you are my daughter. My blood has covered all of your issues. And by my stripes, you are healed. You just have to believe it, receive it, and walk in it. And the thing you have to do is know who you are and whose you are. So when you do that, Jesus' power is perfected in our weakness. Grace is sufficient for you. This strength is made perfect in your weakness. You just got to keep that faith going and know who you are.